Well, if you are driving in central Delhi, there is a chance that you might encounter a blue motorized bicycle in front of you. It's the Yulu scooter. It doesn't have indicators, so sometimes you may have no idea which way it will go. What is more, Yulu riders often ride in the direction of the incoming traffic, on the completely opposite direction. In some places, the bikes are left unattended on the roadsides. And often children and adults alike double or triple ride on the bike, something that is completely against the rules. All these are making the Yulu a tough proposition for the traffic officers. The Delhi Metro Rail Corporation, or the DMRC, to begin with, came up with this idea to provide last mile connectivity to passengers. Now, that original idea seems to be somewhere lost with rampant misuse of this green mobility option. The idea of an environment-friendly vehicle helping public transport users appeared admirable to begin with, but this kind of biking has now become a fun activity for college goers and school children. And in the last 3 months, Delhi police has in fact seized more than 134 e-bikes. According to the Motor Vehicles Act, electric two-wheelers with maximum speed of under 25 kilometers per hour can be used by anyone without a helmet or a license. So clearly, liberties are being taken by people who believe that there are no rules at all. The Delhi police has said that this has led to rampant misuse. People under 13 are using the Yulu bikes. Office goers, delivery executives and others are also using it a lot but not following the rules. My colleagues Ishika and Soya spoke to some of the commuters on this issue. Let's listen in.
A lot we are facing a problem due to the e-bikers and the bikers. Even on the roads, footpaths, they are just crossing their limits. Not only they are disobeying the law, but they are just harm to us.
When I was traveling with my family in front of India Gate, some people were riding their e-bikes, and they were just riding means itni tezi se leke jana, and they were just like ki, yeah, they were going to harm us.
इसमें ज़्यादा फैमिली वालों की दिक्कत होती है. वो क्या करते हैं अपने बच्चों को जस्ट फन के लिए वो सब्सक्रिप्शन लेते हैं, उनको परचेज करके देते हैं कि जस्ट फन करो, घूमो, खेलो. अब वो बच्चों को ना ट्रैफिक रूल पता होता है, ना उनके पास तो कुछ अपनी लाइसेंस होता है, ना उनको कुछ मतलब उतना नॉलेज होता है ट्रैफिक का. जस्ट वो मतलब रोड पे क्रॉस कर देते. कभी कभी तो मतलब बहुत मेजर इंजरी एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है.
There should be some, like watchover or some restriction on age when you issue the license to these bikes, or, when you give the bikes. Especially parents. Parents are more responsible to, look over what their kids are riding. And then personally, the e-bikes that I see, like when you use it, they are to a greater extent. They have a higher acceleration than the normal bikes. So it's very scary to see someone just pass by, cut you, and see ride in that bike.
I think first of all, we should not allow the young kids to have any kind of automobiles, whether it's e-bikes or any bicycles, because they are misusing it, doing all these kind of stunts, which is not safe for them also, and obviously the commuters who are passing by. And we keep on hearing that some bike accidents, some young kids 16 years, 15 years using these motorcycles doing things. And very honestly, I also think that traffic police cannot be available everywhere, every nooks and corners. So it's the self-vigilance that we have to keep as a society. That
there has to be more strict rules in terms of their education, right? Lack of education is leading our community's children to go out and do such things. So I think at home, either parents should take care of the child with so much love. Absence of love is leading them to do all these things.
Not only about 13-year-olds, even I can see that in my locality, small kids are delivering milk and other things in scooty. There are kids delivering gas cylinders in scooty. So the kids are trained like that. Actually, someone should tell them, or a law should come that it's mandatory to be 18 years old, or they should qualify a good license test, not a simple road test, not a simple H or 8, a good license test in order to be qualified to ride in the road.
Common offences, multiple cases of unguarded double and triple riding, no safety gear worn by the riders, driving on the wrong side of the road, bikes abandoned at no parking zones, obstructing traffic, oftentimes that is another issue. In fact, the entire issue gets complicated because the offenders don't need a license. As per traffic police, every day at least 10 to 17 offenders on e-bikes are noticed, but they cannot be challaned because there are limitations within the MV Act. So let's look at some data coming in from Pune on this issue of biker menace. There's a larger issue also, of course, and these are bikers and two-wheelers in general. So those are the figures flashing for you on your screens. The most common offence in Pune is jumping the red light, followed by driving under influence and speaking on the phone. These are the offences that have the highest number of offenders in Pune. Let's go across to our reporters. Joining me now is Ishika, I beg your pardon, I think Soya from Bengaluru and Ankit from Mumbai. Coming to you first, Ankit. We are looking at data and statistics now very closely to see that whether the revised system, better technology has made things better for us or has it made things even worse. The reason we started this campaign, Ankit, as you reported on the issue of a biker accessing the C-link and getting challan for under a very stringent provision of culpable homicide, and that started this entire conversation, and we decided to focus on it more. But I believe you have some important data from Mumbai. You spoke to the top officers. Go ahead, Ankit.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Like, as we all know, whenever the technology comes in, because of the technology, the data, apart from that, the licensing, the suspension needs to be increased. But what we can see over here from the transport department, I got the data before the e-challan introduced in the Maharashtra and after the e-challan. I have a data of 9 months, which is clearly mentioned that from the January, in the month of September 2020, e-challan was imposed in Maharashtra, but from the January to September 2020, the total license was suspended is more than 12,000, and the cancelled license is 310. But after that, from October 2022 to June 2021, the number of suspension is only 3,000, more than 3,000, and the cancellation is only 304, and the total number is more than 3,000. So the difference, if you see the 3,000 and the 3,400, so only 200 and 300 difference after the technology introduced. As we all know, whenever how the e-challan came, whenever I break any kind of rules, the traffic police definitely click the photos, and definitely they send the photos to the RTO department. That if you're doing that, breaking the rules again and again, then there should be a cancellation of cancellation of the driving license. But here, if you see before the e-challan and after the e-challan, the differences is only 200 for the 9 months data, and definitely from the 2020 till 2023, the numbers will be the gap of numbers is more. But what we can see, whenever the technology we introduce, definitely the license suspension and the cancellation is not at all increased. And if you see the rules and regulation, they are breaking, but suspension and cancellation is not happening just because of the e-challan.
Right. Ankit, thanks for giving us the data. Let me quickly also now turn across to Soya. Soya, I believe the YOLO bikes issue is a problem in Bengaluru. We heard some citizen voices who said that rules are not being followed. The larger concern, let's remind our viewers, is safety. It's your own safety and safety of others. What is the level and extent of the problem there, Soya?
Well, Afrida, that's absolutely, there's a problem of this YOLO app that is happening from a very long time in the city of Bengaluru as well, because I can see the problem happening every day in front of Church Street, where the Church Street is a commercial area where a lot of commuters take this particular road, because this is the center of Bengaluru, where YOLO has a separate stand and they park their bikes there. And randomly some youngsters, some 13-year, 14-year, 15-year youngsters who just randomly, go scan, and they just start using the YOLO e-bikes, and they just move around everywhere. And that is causing a lot of trouble here to the commuters. Here the problem problem is traffic police, they can't come everywhere and they can't have an eye on everyone over here who is using what. So that is the main advantage of the youngsters. They are taking it as an advantage and they're just misusing the e-bike over here, and especially this app called YOLO. They're specifically using this app, and anyone can use that app, and that is the main reason the youngsters are misusing, and it is causing a lot of trouble to the commuters.
Right.
And many incidents has also happened because of that, because YOLO e-bikes don't have any kind of brakes or proper brakes or accelerator.
Yes.
They don't have a proper indicator basically, so anyone can come from anywhere.
Right,
And
that's
they
a
will
big
not
problem.
come from one way,
And
they will come from both the ways.
it's time to take
So
a
this is-
relook at the system.
this
That's
is a
the
big
entire idea. Yes, so yes, thanks for joining us, and Ankit, thanks for giving us all the details. I want to go across to our panelists now. Dr. S. Velmurugan, Chief Scientist, Central Road Research Institute, joining us from Delhi, and Mr. T.R. Kakkar, former Commissioner of Delhi Police, joining us. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Kakkar, what is the level and extent of the problem according to your understanding? The traffic officials have said that the safety of pedestrians and road users are threatened because of the e-bikes. Despite their practicality, despite their utility as a pollution-free means of transport and last-mile connectivity advantage, it is not being used to its full advantage. It is turning out to be a menace. Mr. Kakkar, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I was asking you.
Could you please repeat the question?
I will. I was just wanting to know from you that the e-bike started as a novel idea. It was a practical idea, a green mobility option, but its advantages seem to be lost somewhere now. It's creating mayhem on the roads because users are not following the rules. But my question to you is, it's the job of the law enforcement to ensure that its original purpose is restored.
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. You see, because it's a very well-intentioned scheme to give a right to the riders who come from metro, go back to their houses. It was a very well-intentioned, but somehow the implementation and the use it is being made of has a lot of problems. The main problem, of course, is that there is no control as to who can get that e-cycle release from there. Anybody who puts rupees 50 or 100, he may be a child, and mostly the children are making use of it, with the result that there is they are violating all norms, because children below 13 even in Delhi have been noticed who are riding this this e-cycle, which can result in mishaps.
Right.
So therefore, we have to regulate its use. It is not a bad thing to say that it should not be there. That is why now, wherever the Delhi police finds these abundant, whether in parks, on the street, on the main highways, these are being confiscated just to make the provider realize that you have to come up with some novel idea of making good use of it. Earlier we had the e-rickshaws. E-rickshaws the police had no control. There was no registration, therefore they couldn't be challaned for various violations. And ultimately the government had to come in for an ordinance. They were registered, they are like any other vehicle. Similarly, this, which has a maximum speed of, I'm told, approximately 25 kilometers an hour, is fairly, it's not a very good thing in the hands of children 13, 14 or 10 years, 11 years old. So some sort of law has to be designed to make sure that this is used in the for
the right
the
spirit,
purpose
yes.
for which it was really meant.
Yes, absolutely.
And that I'm sure the government will come up with something.
It has already reached that point. Dr. Velmurugan, do you agree that here was a idea which was meant to help people? It's now hurting the entire transport and traffic system. And unless some other rules kick in, because the MVA Act, I believe, has its limitations. You cannot challan anyone. There is no license required. Under the circumstances, what can be done?
Yeah, you see, I fully agree with my panelist. See, basically what is happening is that we can't go about in 25 kilometer speed of this vehicle, we are saying. But the speed differential which is created because this vehicle, say for example, it is using on this entire India Gate area. There are 8 C hexagon. We have 8 roads are there. So people come from each of the different roads at reasonably good speeds, coming in other vehicles. So there is a great speed differential. That's a speed differential which is there. And on top of it, a person who is using maybe 13 to 15 years, and he or she may not be knowing the rules of the game while driving. And if he is going on top of it on a reverse direction or this contraflow driving, that is going to add to the problem. Not only for, it's not that his speed is 25. He is having the speed differential, which is likely to, other vehicles are coming at 40 to 50 kilometers. That is going to create a huge problem for him as well as the people who are driving in other vehicles. First is safety and next is congestion. And other one is that people, the way they are driving, that is going to create more and more problems for even the pedestrians who are going to cross the road. Because this kind of people who are driving in that fashion, it's in cities like China, they went about in making really lanes for them to use. So that kind of thing has to be thought about, and it's high time they should be started challaned. That is important, so that the person will not make this kind of mistakes.
Yes, we must adopt the best practices, isn't it, Mr. Kakkar? Because we cannot entirely pin the responsibility on the users. Somewhere we all know it's a top-down approach, a certain culture sets in. You know, road rules have to be set, have to be enforced with strict vigilance that no one dares to violate. We've seen that being applied in other smart cities across the globe. Why can't it happen here?
See,
yes, Mr.
See, now you've given an example of smart cities across the globe. There, people, even people who do not drive this e-cycle, follow the traffic norms. We know that in our cities, that is practically not there. Any amount of education does not improve the traffic in our cities. Therefore, it is all the more dangerous. Now, as I told earlier, it was a very well-intentional scheme. It is. Now, there is no point banning it. I am not for banning this, but it has to be regulated in a fashion that it is utilized the most by people who need it, rather than becoming a plaything for the children. They just they take it out because you only have to put money. They take it out and go all over, even without helmet, and not following any precautions on the road. There are no footpaths with us. You talked of the cities in the smart cities in the world. All these, I've seen it personally in Chicago, and I've seen it in Austin, Houston. And these people, the students who use this, they drive it on the footpaths, not on the main road. Here the children don't even know, and we don't have footpath. Let's be very practical about it. Therefore, some sort of regulation has to be, and I'm very sure banning is no answer, because we are going to deprive a facility to the user, but we will have to bring in some regulation so that children do not get this released, and 2, that whosoever uses it also follows the norms, and he's also scared that he can be challaned like any other two-wheeler.
Right, this is important, and what you're saying, of course, makes me now think that this requires a larger approach. First of all, there has to be infrastructure, there has to be a separate lane for two-wheelers, then rules can be enforced, because otherwise it just leaves, you know, so much scope for violators.
That will take a lot of time. That will take a lot of time.
In the meanwhile, yes, we urge our viewers, those who are using this facility, to please follow the rules, not endanger other people's safety. I thank you so much, Dr. S. Velmurugan and Mr. T.R. Kakkar, for joining me here on the program. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.